Hello, this is the May 3rd, 2010 issue of United Nations Week News and Views. My name is John Kerry, and the views expressed on this program are mine alone unless I indicate some other source. The purpose of the program is to bring to your attention information about recent events at the UN and some reactions, ideas concerning those events. And I will welcome your own ideas on these or other UN issues. If you care to send them to the blog that I will show the address for at the end. There are two subjects I want to get into today. One is Nepal, which has come out of a civil war and is trying to recover from that, and what they're doing to get ready, what they were doing to get ready for May Day, May 1st, which was, of course, Saturday. The second subject is the International Criminal Court and the review of it, which is coming up. We, the United States, turn up our noses at the ICC, and more on that later. And in Nepal, there is the Unified Communist Party of Nepal-Maoist, abbreviation UCPN-M. And they announced that their May Day celebrations would be peaceful. Quote, but after 1 May, the situation is unpredictable and may seriously endanger the peace process. That's a quote from Karen Landgren, the Secretary General's representative in Nepal. And the comprehensive peace agreement signed in 2006 between the government and the Maoists ended a decade-long civil war which claimed some 13,000 lives. After conducting Constituent Assembly elections in May 2008, Nepal abolished its 240-year-old monarchy and declared itself to be a republic. But the peace process has stalled recently, threatened by tensions and mistrust between Maoists, the government, and the army. Ms. Lundgren went on to say there are grave concerns about the direction it may take in the coming days. The parties have expressed their willingness to reach an agreement, which she stressed must happen rapidly to prevent an escalation of the situation. Although the Maoist, the Unified Communist Party of Nepal-Maoist, UCPN-M, has said that their demonstrations would be peaceful, and authorities had said they will not use unnecessary force, the envoy, Ms. Lundgren, expressed concern that clashes could ensue. The UCPN-M was urged to ensure that demonstrators not engaged in any form of provocation, confrontation, or hostile behavior, including wielding lathis, L-A-A-T-H-I-S, and other weapons that could cause bodily harm. The group has a special responsibility to ensure that children are not put in harm's way, said the Office of the High Commissioner for Human Rights. Here's another quote from Ms. Lundgren. I appeal to all parties and groups to exercise maximum restraint, and I underline that unity amongst the parties has been the driving force of the peace process and remains the best prospect for permanent peace in Nepal, unquote. She told reporters that the country's leaders and people have invested so much in the peace process that, quote, it would be a shame and disaster to let this fall by the wayside, unquote. Now the review of the International Criminal Court, which is coming up. The key goal of the upcoming review conference of the Rome Statute of the International Criminal Court was, quote, to complete negotiations on defining individual responsibility for the crime of aggression, unquote. So said William Pache, convener of the Coalition for the International Criminal Court. He said that at a press conference ahead of the review, which is slated for 31 May to 11 June in Kampala, Uganda. Uganda is an interesting place to hold this meeting, considering the recent activities of the Lord's Resistance Army, so-called. The review conference is being held in accordance with the court's mandate to review its work 7 years after the Rome Statute's entry into force. Mr. Pace was joined by Christian Weneweser, W-E-N-A-W-E-S-E-R, president of the state's parties to the International Criminal Court. Mr. Weneweser noted that 3 amendments to the statute would be considered, besides a stock-taking assessment of the court's operational work since the Rome Statute entered into force. The first amendment, submitted by Belgium, concerned changes to provisions on war crimes and an addition to a category of arms on the list of weapons prohibited for internal armed conflict. The other 2 amendments would address a possible change to the Rome Statute's Article 124, which allows for states to exempt themselves from the jurisdiction of the court over war crimes for 7 years, and a renewed attempt to define crimes of aggression. Mr. Weneweser said that extensive preparatory work concluded a year ago had produced a widely agreed definition of aggression, yet there was still no agreement on the court's exercise of jurisdiction, because the Security Council, of course, has the explicit power to act in cases of aggression, which would imply that the Security Council has the authority to define aggression, which seems perfectly logical. But the issue is, if the Security Council can make findings that aggression exists, then is it all right for the International Criminal Court to do the same in order to prosecute such acts? Mr. Weneweser explained that the stock-taking assessment would address 4 significant political challenges: the impact of the court's work on victims and affected communities, the issue of peace and justice, the issue of complementarity, which is the role of national jurisdiction and the complementary nature of the court to the national judiciary, and cooperation of states with the court. Complementarity refers to the fact that under the regime laid down by the Rome Statute, individual governments have the first option to prosecute, and if they do not or will not, then and only then does the International Criminal Court obtain jurisdiction. Resolutions were expected to be adopted on complementarity and victim issues, and an additional resolution might be adopted on the issue of cooperation, Mr. Weneweser said. Additionally, a high-level declaration was anticipated reaffirming the Rome Statute. Concerning participation, he noted that the Secretary General last year had extended invitations to heads of state of both states parties and non-states parties to attend the conference. That non-state party category includes us, the United States. Secretary General will also be attending the conference on its opening day. Mr. Pace added that civil society would also be in attendance, and 600 of the current 2,500 non-governmental organizations within the coalition had already registered. That's the coalition to support the court.